Hi guys, Christina here. Today on It Is a Keeper, we're making a luscious southern dessert, pickin cake. Now, the name may sound peculiar, but this cake is insanely delicious. It's tender and citrusy and encased in a light and fluffy frosting. Once you try this cake, you will see why it's so popular in the South, and I promise you, no pigs will be harmed in the making of this recipe. Now, make sure you click on the red subscribe button below so you don't miss a single recipe. And if you like this recipe, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Ready to get started? Let's make a pickin cake. This Southern delight got its interesting name from where it was served, not what it's made of. This cake often made appearances at barbecues and pig roasts, or pig pickins, as they're sometimes referred to, throughout the Carolinas and the South. So if you're Southern and haven't heard of this cake, maybe you've been calling it something else. This popular cake is also referred to as sunshine cake or Mandarin Orange Cake, but whatever you call it, it's incredible. Okay, so let's get started making our pickin cake. So here in my mixer, I'm just going to lift the head up. We're going to add a package of white cake mix. So I will get that in there. Just add that right in. And we're pretty much going to follow the instructions on the box of the cake mix, but we're gonna make one little tweak. And that tweak is, the cake mix will call for water, but instead of water, I'm going to use the juice from this can of Mandarin oranges. So I'm just going to pour it into this measuring cup, and we wanna get about 3/4 of a cup. So let me get it all out. And we're a little bit shy, so I have some water here, and I'm just going to get us to the 3/4 mark with the water. So total 3/4 cup Mandarin orange juice and water. And we're going to add some oils, just some vegetable oil. And I have 3 eggs here. We're going to add just the whites because we want to keep this cake nice and white. So we're just going to add the whites of the eggs. And I like to do that by cracking it into a bowl and then just kind of juggling the whites back and forth. For this one, we will just put it down for about 30 seconds. We're gonna go on low just to start getting everything combined, and then we're gonna turn the speed up a little bit. Okay, so our cake mix has finished mixing. I'm just gonna give it one quick stir by hand just to make sure everything is off the sides and the bottom and that there aren't any dry pockets. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so our cake mix is fully incorporated. Now we need to add our Mandarin oranges, but I want to kind of cut these up a little bit. So I'm just going to slide the mixer off to the side. And put them on the cutting board here. I just want to chop them up so that they're in bite-sized pieces. So we're going to fold these Mandarin oranges into our cake mix using the entire can of Mandarin oranges. I just love anything citrus. And this cake is just so light and refreshing. Now it's also going to add a little bit more juice here from the oranges. So let's carefully bring this back. I'm going to take the beater off to make it easier for this part. And we will get those oranges into the cake batter. Alrighty then. And then just by hand, I'm going to fold the oranges right in there. Get everything incorporated. Beautiful. All right, now let's get our batter into our cake pans. Okay, so we have our batter, we have our oranges mixed in. I'm just going to divide this batter up between two 8-inch cake pans that I have greased and floured so that nothing will stick. We're going to evenly split this up, or I'm going to try to evenly split this up. Okay, so we have our batter split up. I'm just going to make sure it's in an even layer. And then I like to give each pan just a tap on the counter to pop out any air bubbles that are in there. We don't want air bubbles coming through in our final cake. So these are going to go into a 350-degree oven for about 23 to 26 minutes, depending on the directions on your cake box. And we'll come back and I'll show you how to put this all together. So while our cakes are baking, let's work on the frosting for this cake. So it starts with a package of instant vanilla pudding. Add that to our bowl. And then we're going to add an entire can of crushed pineapple and juice. Add it all in there. So I just have a container of whipped topping that I thawed. And I'm gonna do it in batches. I'm gonna start with the first half here, get that folded in, and then we will move on to the second half. All right, this is ready. We're just gonna wait for our cakes to come out and cool down, and then I'm gonna show you how to put it together. All right, our cakes are out of the oven. They have cooled completely because we don't want to put this light frosting on a warm cake. So you want these completely cooled before you frost them. So I'm just going to lift up one of the cakes, put it on my cake plate, and then this can be as rustic or as fancy as you want it. If you look at the recipe on my website, I have the cake fully frosted. For this version, I'm just going to do it a little different. I'm going to do it just with cake frosting in between the layers and then a little bit on top. I'm going to put a nice thick layer in the center. So I'm just going to spread this out. And that's why I love this cake, because it's not fancy. And I am not a fancy, fussy baker. If you've been following me along at all, you kind of know that about me. Oops. Just trying to keep it as neat as I can. And it's okay if some of it runs over the edge. Put a little bit more in there. All right, that is looking good. Maybe a little more. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna take the second layer and very carefully put it on top. I'm gonna put the prettier side up on top, which is the top layer of the cake. Since you're going to kind of see it, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just going to pile this frosting right on top. I'm not going to run it down the edges though. I just don't feel like being fussy today. We're going to go a little rustic. You have options with this cake. You could also do it in a 13 by 9 pan if you wanted to, or cupcakes would be good if you wanted to go bite size. It's completely flexible, but oh so yummy. So that's looking pretty. Okay, last thing we are going to do to this Pickin Cake is I saved some oranges. Actually, I opened up another can of oranges, and I'm just going to use them as garnish. So you can do this however you'd like. You can kind of just put them around the edge. This is completely optional, but it does make a nice presentation. And who doesn't like a little extra bright citrus. All right, look how pretty that looks. I cannot wait to dig into this cake. So here is our final pig pickin' cake. And doesn't this look fantastic? Can you see why they call it a sunshine cake or Mandarin Orange Cake? This, I can't wait to dig in. So let's cut a nice slice. Okay. Oh, let's get a bite with everything. Oh, it's so light and so refreshing. I could see why they served this cake at Pig Pickins across the South. I mean, it is the perfect ending to any dinner. I highly recommend this cake, and I'm kind of wishing I was Southern right now so I could eat it more often. Thanks for watching. You can get the full recipe in the video description below. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss a single thing. And be sure to check out the rest of my easy recipes and quick tips. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.